Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right in to map out what I like to call the metamorphosis of a manager. We're going to take Andrew S. Grove's absolutely legendary framework from high-output management and synthesize it with some of the most powerful concepts from modern organizational psychology. Because, look, whether you're leading a massive global enterprise or a scrappy little startup team, the underlying mechanics of how you actually produce value, they're fundamentally the same. And mastering them is a lifelong journey. So, let's get into it.
So you might be wondering, how exactly do you escape the red ocean of bloody competition? It's a sentiment echoed by managers all over the world, right? You're dealing with shrinking margins, intense competition that's driving everything toward commoditization, and constantly rising costs. To break out of that cycle and create uncontested market space, you need an organization that executes flawlessly. And that execution, it begins right at the atomic level of management. After all, strategy is literally nothing without execution.
All right. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the breakfast factory. 2, management is a team game. 3, a team of teams. And finally, 4, eliciting peak player performance.
Starting with part 1, the breakfast factory.
Picture this for a second. Imagine you're a waiter and your task is to serve a breakfast consisting of a 3-minute soft-boiled egg, some buttered toast, and a cup of coffee. Your job is to prepare and deliver all 3 of these items simultaneously, and they all need to be fresh and hot. Sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? But as Andy Grove points out, this little scenario actually perfectly captures the basic requirements of complex production. You have to deliver the product at a committed time, at an acceptable cost, and at a quality level the customer actually expects.
And what's brilliant about this simple breakfast task is how it encompasses the 3 fundamental types of production operations. First, you've got the process. That's physically changing the material, like boiling the egg. Second is assembly, putting components together to make a new entity, combining the egg, toast, and coffee on a tray. And third is the test, examining the characteristics, like doing a quick visual check to make sure the coffee is steaming and the toast is properly browned. The crazy part? These 3 operations apply to literally everything. Seriously, whether you're making breakfast, screening college grads for a job, or compiling complex software, the exact same rules apply.
Building on Grove's work, Ben Horowitz notes that a manager absolutely must identify the limiting step. In our breakfast example, that limiting step is the 3-minute egg, right? Because it has an absolute time requirement that you simply cannot rush. You must deliberately design the rest of the process, the yielding activities like pouring the coffee and toasting the bread, around that limiting step to ensure you get the output you want. So always focus on the output first. You have to ask yourself, what exactly should this process produce?
Moving right along to part 2, management is a team game.
Now, let's look at how we scale this up. This right here is Grove's classic equation, and honestly, it might just be the single most important sentence in his entire framework. Your individual knowledge, no matter how vast or impressive it is, means exactly nothing unless you can transfer it to increase the overall productivity of your team. You see, a manager's output is not measured by how many emails they clear out or how many meetings they sit through. Those are just activities. A manager's true output is strictly the sum of the output of the organizations under their supervision and influence. Your real job is to hunt down activities with high leverage, actions you can take that massively multiply the output of your entire team.
And here's why this is a total game changer on a macro scale. By focusing on this high-leverage organizational output, managers are essentially building execution directly into their strategy. Like we learned from the Blue Ocean Strategy Framework, joining hard analytics with the human dimension of organizations is how you get your team to execute flawlessly. This high-output management style is the actual engine that allows companies to finally escape that bloody red ocean competition and create totally new, uncontested demand.
Okay, part 3, a team of teams.
So what happens when our little breakfast factory suddenly goes national? Well, you obviously can't just have one person overseeing everything anymore. As enterprises grow, they naturally evolve into these complex hybrid organizations. They start combining mission-oriented departments, like your local branches of the factory, with centralized common resources, maybe a corporate personnel manager or a traffic manager who's optimizing egg delivery across different regions. But as the book Team Topologies highlights, all this complexity quickly makes the formal organizational chart completely out of sync with reality. The crucial takeaway here is that in these hybrid networks, the actual work doesn't follow the org chart at all. There are really 3 structures at play. The formal structure, that's mostly just for compliance. The informal structure is the realm of influence between individuals. And the value creation structure, that's how the work actually gets done, based on interpersonal and inter-team reputation.
If you want to be a high-output manager in a hybrid organization, your success heavily relies on mastering the interactions between those informal and value creation structures. You have to rely on your reputation and mutual support rather than just pointing to your formal title.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 4, Eliciting Peak Player Performance.
Look, no matter how perfect your hybrid team looks on paper, it's only going to perform as well as the actual humans on it. When you're scouting talent to build this team, you've got to look past the flashy stats. Research from organizational psychology, specifically from the book Give and Take, tells us we should be looking for diamonds in the rough who practice with true grit. And by grit, I mean that deep perseverance and passion for long-term goals. You want to look for the givers. These are the players who often fly under the radar because they aren't out there hogging the spotlight, but they will actually work harder and longer out of a profound sense of responsibility to their teammates, even when the work itself isn't immediately fun or rewarding. You also desperately want players with high adaptiveness and learning ability. As we see in the signal and the noise, the path to success is almost never a straight line. A great player can't be too rigid in how they think. When they face unexpected changes, say they're walking down the hall and there's a sudden unexpected turn, they make a round turn, not a sharp, jarring one. It's a sort of controlled intensity. These individuals manage to maintain self-awareness through all the daily noise and chaos of the organization. They're constantly processing new information and seamlessly adapting to it. But here's the thing. Eliciting peak performance isn't just about magically finding ready-made talent. It's really about what you do with them once they're actually on your team. It's about deeply tailored coaching. Think about legendary basketball coach John Wooden. His unprecedented success wasn't just because he was this inspiring guy. It was a direct result of his highly specific, error-centered, information-rich practices. The absolute secret to coaching a diamond in the rough is designing deep practice. You have to figure out the unique motivational button for each individual player if you want to tap into their true potential.
As a manager, about 60% of what you teach is going to apply to everybody on the team. But the true art, the real magic of management, is figuring out how to deliver that knowledge in a way that clicks with the specific person standing right in front of you. You have to genuinely care about what they think and how they think. There's this fantastic quote from the Talent Code that points out the greatest challenge isn't teaching the superstar. It's taking someone who is struggling and teaching them how to learn in a way that resonates perfectly with them. Now that is coaching.
Which leaves us with this final thought on your metamorphosis as a manager. We've mapped out the production lines, we've defined your high-leverage activities, and we've navigated the messy reality of the hybrid organization. But mastering the mechanics of the factory, that's really only the beginning. The ultimate output of a manager depends entirely on the human beings operating within that system. So I'm going to leave you with a question to carry with you. You know how to run the factory now, but are you truly ready to coach the players? Because that, my friends, is the lifelong journey of the high-output manager. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep building.